We are back again for another edition of our Cause of the Week Lunch and Learn. Thank you for joining us again today, and I'm Christy Kennel, an Associate Director for the Combined Federal Campaign. And this week, we are highlighting our military through organizations providing military support, giving back to those sacrificing day after day to defend our nation's freedom. So let's hear about. We are back again for another edition of our Cause of the Week Lunch and Learn. Thank you for joining us. I'm Christy Kennel, an Associate Director for the Combined Federal Campaign. And this week, we are highlighting our military through organizations providing help with military support and giving back to those sacrificing day after day to defend our nation's freedom. So let's hear about a few of these organizations.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jose Rodriguez, and I'm the Associate Director for the Sunshine Zone. Today, we're going to be talking about our military support cause of the week. And with us, we have a real special charity named Camaraderie Foundation Incorporated. And with that, I'll introduce you to their representative, Mr. Neff Rodriguez. Neff?
Hey, Jose, glad to be here and really appreciate the opportunity to tell the story of Camaraderie Foundation. We've been in existence since 2009. We're based here in Orlando, Florida, and we serve the veterans wherever they are located, anywhere in the world, basically. We're currently in 48 states and in 3 foreign countries. We're in Guam, Panama, and the United Kingdom with post 9/11 veterans. And we treat the post 9/11 veterans and their family members for the invisible wounds of war, which are PTSD, traumatic brain injury, military sexual trauma, even marriage counseling and family counseling. We do that absolutely free of cost to the veteran. And we have over 480 counselors currently in our database across the country and around the world. So it doesn't matter where the veteran's located, we'll find a counselor that meets their needs. The other thing that makes us unique from other organizations, besides that you don't have to pay for anything, is that we not only treat the veteran, but we treat the entire family as a unit. So the spouse, the children, we also include caregivers. So if a veteran is living at home with mom and dad or with a significant other, then we will treat them as a family unit. So the veteran identifies us what their family unit is, and we will treat the entire unit. The other thing is that we don't care about the character discharge. So if they have a bad conduct, dishonorable discharge, as long as they've served 1 day post 9/11, we treat them absolutely free. And so we have a video that I'd like to share to show exactly the impact that we've had on some of these families.
I saw someone who was hurt and felt broken. Talking to him and getting him to open up to me was a long process. My name is Maria Kreider. I'm the wife of Brandon Lee Kreider, Army Specialist. The veteran's not the only ones struggling. They're not the only ones going through things. As a spouse, we go through a lot, and we put up with a lot. You know, the attitude, the bad days, the pains. That's something that we experience with, you know, the vet. And camaraderie is able to help us too. So Camaraderie Foundation has been there at the most critical times in our lives. I had reached a point where I was so depressed and so stuck in going through the motions, the day-to-day stuff, that I didn't feel normal anymore. I didn't feel like I could relate to people. And Camaraderie stepped in and said, hey, you need to speak to somebody. You need to talk to a counselor. Let's set you up. Let's find you somebody to talk to. That, having someone else who understands, who is able to give you pointers, advice, something so that you're not wading through or muddling through alone. That was the biggest thing for me, is not feeling alone. And it's hard. It's really hard to put those emotions into words. I'm still learning what PTSD is. I still don't fully understand the extent of it. There's a lot that we still have to work through. We're working on quite a bit. And it's not something that you can fix from one day to the next. It's an ongoing thing. And had it not been for Camaraderie Foundation, I might not be here. We might not be here. I'm gonna cry now. Sorry. Yeah, I think Camaraderie has definitely saved my life.
Wow.
Okay, Neff, go ahead.
But seeing videos like that makes the job worthwhile, and that's what it's all about. It's about saving lives and saving families. And we have 22 a day committing suicide, and the number actually is probably even higher because the top 3 states of veteran populations, California, Texas, and Florida, don't record whether it's a veteran who commits suicide. And so with that numbers not being counted, it's probably much more higher. However, Florida has now started tracking that. So we should be getting some better numbers here in the near future. But I do ask everyone, anyone can help. You can go to our webpage, CamaradierieFoundation.org, and donate $10 a month, $11 a month. You don't have to donate $1,000, $2,000, or even higher. And then we do have the CFC code 59983. And so we do ask everyone, if this is something that's near and dear to your heart, we appreciate your help. 84 cents out of every dollar goes directly to our programs, and we have an 89% success rate.
Well, thank you so much. Now, we really appreciate you coming on and giving us a perspective on the charity, which is a great charity that is doing a lot for our military folks. So with that said, you have a great day, and thank you for being here. Perfect.
Our cause of the week is military support. I have the great pleasure of introducing Mr. Charles Harris, Joint Base Langley Eustis Army. Welcome, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Julie. It's good. I'm glad to be here.
I'm sorry that we can't get you on Zoom at the moment, picture-wise, but can you tell our federal workers and retirees about the Joint Base Langley Eustis Army Community Service Emergency Food Voucher Program?
Yes, it is an emergency program designed to provide a short-term solution for soldiers and families experiencing financial difficulty and inability to provide food for themselves or their families. We issue gift certificates to the commissary to provide the assistance. The program is available for active duty, reserve, and National Guard on active duty for 30 consecutive days.
Well, we don't think of the military needing help. How has COVID affected the program?
Well, COVID has had a negative impact that affected everyone's life, and the military is no different. It not only restricted people's movement, but also required them to stay at home. Schools closed, businesses closed, and families remained inside their residences. This created financial issues and subsequently a higher consumption of food, less money, and a more food requirement. And our program sort of bridged the gap temporarily to get them from that critical point to the next payday.
Well, thank you for what you do. Why should our federal workers and retirees contribute to the CFC?
Well, in addition to showing some love, it shows an outreach and make you feel good about helping others. CFC is a way for us to have fun also with our coworkers. It is a wonderful feeling to know that you can make a difference in the cause that you support. And you can choose which cause you would like to support. We all know of causes that need support, and this is our opportunity to support them.
It certainly is. And can anyone volunteer for you? If a federal worker or retiree wanted to volunteer, could they do so?
Yes, absolutely. They can call 757-878-3638, and they will tell you what you need to do in order to volunteer, not only for our program, but you can volunteer to make a contribution to CFC. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for supporting their CFC and our emergency food voucher program. Our CFC code is 77385 and it's located on page 14 of your contribution booklet. It shows all the different causes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Harris, for joining us today and for telling us about the vital work that you carry out.
And thank you for having me, Julie. We really appreciate having you on board. Thank you a lot. You do an awesome job for us.
Well, thank you.
Joining me from Fisher House Nightingale. Am I saying that right?
Fisher Nightingale Houses.
Fisher Nightingale House. There we go. I knew Nightingale was in there somewhere because Florence is awesome. But this is Mr. Chris. And Chris, tell me about the Fisher House. I mean, is it different? Is Fisher House different than Fisher Nightingale House?
Well, Fisher Nightingale Houses Incorporated is the name of our nonprofit, the 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay.
The Nightingale House was the first compassionate care house in the Department of Defense. We opened that at Wright Pat in May of 1990.
Okay.
Captain Gretchen Lietze was reassigned to Wright Pat on what the Air Force calls a humanitarian reassignment. Her 6-year-old son, Tony, had leukemia.
Okay.
And although she was assigned to the base and had a place to live, she saw families that were coming in from all over the world, sleeping in their cars, sleeping in waiting rooms. They were the lowest priority in billeting. So she envisioned a Ronald McDonald type compassionate care home on the base, lobbied the private organizations, base leadership, and we took an enlisted duplex and converted that. Like I said, it opened that in May of 1990. Later in 1990, Zach and Elizabeth Fisher very wealthy couple from New York City were approached and asked, will you build one compassionate care home in Bethesda, Maryland at the Naval Medical Center? And they said yes, but we'll build 3, one for the Army, one for the Navy, one for the Air Force.
Oh, I like them.
Well, the network has grown. Today, just today, Fisher House number 92 opened in Kansas City, Missouri.
That's fantastic.
So it has grown. We got our first Fisher House at Wright Pat in May of 1994 and operated that along with the Nightingale. In February of 2011, the Nightingale was returned to the Air Force and demolished because we had Fisher House 2 that was under construction, opened in April of 11. And now we have a third one here in Dayton, down on the historic Dayton VA campus.
Okay.
That we opened in 3 years ago, November of 2018. So between the 3, 37 suites, that's 13,500 nights a year, which further translates into the capability to save the guests over $2 million in hotel costs, but in a home environment, not a hotel environment.
Right. So when I was with my husband, we were stationed in Germany. We used to volunteer at the Fisher House.
Landstuhl.
Yes. We used to volunteer there. And so give me kind of a lay of the land for Fisher House. I know there's more than one family that stays there, but it's like a communal kitchen. Are they all pretty much set up the same? Or
they're beautiful homes. Now
they were gorgeous.
Our most recent one, the one to Dayton VA, is a 2-story, 13,500 square foot, 16 bedrooms, 17.5 handicapped accessible baths, $7 million to build, furnish, and landscape, all done by the Fisher House Foundation, and then donated to the government to operate. The foundation walks away; they're not responsible for policies, procedure, management, or anything else because now it's owned by the government.
So I think one thing that we need to highlight is that while, these buildings are really nice, the need for them, it's not coupled with a happy, hey, here's a beautiful house. It's coupled with a medical need that's serious and that is going to take a certain amount of time away from their normal job or their normal home. And that's why they're staying with you.
Correct. So, at Wright Pat, we have people that come from all over the world to receive treatment at Wright Pat Medical Center based on the specialties we have in that medical center. And, they come in and even for the people locally, if you think about it, if you get referred to the Cleveland Clinic, first of all, you're dealing with whatever that medical situation is, and that's stressful enough. But then you have to get there. You have to find a place to live. You have to find a place to eat. You have to find a place to do your laundry. Right. While you're there. And you have to pay for all that, by the way. Well, they stay with us for free, however long that medical situation, either inpatient or outpatient, is going on.
That's incredible because there's so many people that will actually not go to the doctor if they feel like they have an issue that's going to cause them a hardship, especially with their family. So a lot of people, I know there are some stats that came out with people not getting screened for cancer and everything during COVID because they didn't want to go to the doctor, they didn't want to have these things done. And so it kind of stops them from doing that and also not being able to afford it or be able to get the treatment that you need. And having these Fisher houses, throughout 92, you said?
92 throughout the network.
92 throughout the network. It's amazing what they're able to do. And you need that environment, that feeling of home when you're trying to recover or going through, the medical conditions that a lot of these patients have.
Well, and the families bond. They may be, you and I, our families may be staying there and you're dealing with whatever your medical situation is and I'm dealing, with whatever my medical situation is. But regardless, both of us are dealing with a family member or ourselves who are going through a medical situation. And so they support each other. That's what military people do. We're wingmen to each other. We support each other. That's what CFC is about, is being a wingman to other people. And, so they support each other because, again, it's a home environment. You talked about like a commercial kitchen. Down at the Dayton VA, again, our newest house, there are 3 Sub-Zero refrigerators. There's 2 Sub-Zero freezers. There's 2 microwaves, 2 stoves, 2 sets of double ovens, 2 sinks, 2 dishwashers. And just like when your family shows up at your house for Thanksgiving, that's where people congregate, is in the kitchen and in the dining area. You know,
Yeah.
yes, they all have their private rooms with a private bath, handicapped accessible bath, but this is where they come together and they support each other. They hold each other's hand, they cry together, they pray together, they play games together, they do whatever together to help each other to get through that situation.
And there's so much involved with that, you know, just the cost of running the houses and making sure that it's stocked up with everything, so the families don't have to worry about what they're going to do for dinner or what they're going to do for breakfast. They kind of have a way to go down and make it themselves, or share, you know, duties with another family that's there. I've seen that before. And it really does make a difference. And it's true, you know, the military members, we are a family. No matter where I'm at, I have family everywhere from where we've been stationed.
Yeah.
And anytime that there's a need, we are really good at, you know, bonding together and kind of fighting that good fight. So I really appreciate everything that you're doing. What is there that you can tell us about either Fisher House here in Dayton or nationally? Is there a way that people can volunteer? Is there a specific goal of, you know, that you guys are trying to raise for maybe a Fisher House number 4?
Well, right now, you know, we raise the money to support the house members and, you know, the house guests and the staff, the management, whatever they need, because the guests are not paying.
Right.
The Air Force can't pay for food and those types of things to support the guests in the house. So whatever the managers need, they reach out to us, whether it's, again, for management of the house or for support for the guests. So we do all that fundraising because it's against the law for federal employees to, against the ethics rules, for them to go out and do fundraising. So we're the fundraising arm. I tell people there's 3 balloons: the National Foundation, the Fisher House, and us. We're all 3 separate entities, but if you take the 3 strings, unless you're a magician, you can't make it 1 balloon. There are going to be 3 balloons, but you can take the string from each of the 3 and tie them together to lift the brick of taking care of the families that are staying in our houses.
I love that analogy, and I actually like balloons too. So it works really well. I really appreciate being patient tonight and sharing with us. Is there a success story or anything in, you know, specific about the Dayton area that you would like to share with us with your charity?
Well, you know, we're proud of our heritage, having the Nightingale as the first compassionate care house. We're proud of what we do. We normally, on an average year, take care of 1,200 to 1,500 families between our 3 houses. I'm sure you've heard of this thing called COVID and how it's impacted things. We never shut down during COVID. So people, even though a lot of doctor's appointments became televisits and elective surgeries were canceled, those types of things, we were still able last year to take care of 526 families. Again, that came from all over to receive treatment. They stay there for free for however long. Some people for, you know, several days, some people for weeks. We've had people for months, and we've had families for over a year staying in the house, and this becomes their home. As a matter of fact, they stayed there so long. We had one couple that stayed there so long, when they finally left, they had to rent a U-Haul to connect to the back of their truck to take everything they accumulated during that year. Yeah. So I guess what I would say to people is, and what I, you know, when I go out and speak to groups, I want people to remember it's more about giving money. You know, and that's what CFC is. But in our case, it's more about giving money. It's more importantly about changing the course of somebody's recovery, because a family's love is good medicine.
Absolutely. I agree. And you guys give that out in bucketfuls. Every experience that I've ever had with the Fisher House has always been amazing. And the people are amazing. And the families, you can really tell that the weight has been lifted off their shoulders when they're able to utilize those facilities. So I thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing for the community, and to know that there's several different locations really makes an impact, especially with all the retirees and stuff that we have in the community, because that's really important too. You mentioned the VA, and I know that Ohio, you know, has a good share of military retirees and the surrounding area. So thank you so much for everything that you guys are doing for our community.
Hello, my name is Rich Bishan. I'm an associate director with the Combined Federal Campaign. This week's Lunch and Learn is about military support. Today, I have the privilege of having Miss Regina Rembert on from BuyVet. How are you, Regina?
I'm great. How are you? And thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome. It's great to reach out to our charities. So tell us a little bit about BuyVet.
BuyVet is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to promote, support, and advocate for veteran-owned businesses. BuyVet was incorporated last year, March of 2020, during the pandemic. And since that time, we've held events and done a lot of promotions out there for our veteran-owned businesses. So we're actually in the midst of Buy Veteran Week. And so we're out there doing interviews with our veteran business owners and just giving them all the support and the publicity that they deserve.
That's great. And it sounds like you do a lot for our veterans, especially our veteran business owners. So has COVID affected your agency at all?
Absolutely. During the pandemic, we were pretty much sidelined. Everything was virtual. We couldn't get out in the community to actually meet our veteran business owners or do live interviews. So we were definitely affected during the pandemic. So absolutely.
Okay, I think COVID has really done a number on a lot of our charities. So can you tell us something maybe that our donors need to know about BuyVet?
Okay, BuyVet hosts something called Vet Ohio Expo. And this year it was held September the 9th. It was an in-person gathering and it was phenomenal. It was 40 exhibitors that we had that came together to showcase their products and their services to the community. So that gave our community a chance to meet our veteran-owned businesses, find out who they are, what their products and services are, and also an opportunity for the veteran business owners to meet one another for that mentorship and support. So it was a phenomenal opportunity. We're going to do it again next year. It's always going to be during Patriots Week. Next year, the date is September the 8th, 2022, and we're already planning for that. So we're hoping for more exhibitors next year, and it will continue to grow, I'm sure. It was a terrific event.
That sounds like a great event, and thank you so much for supporting our veteran-owned businesses. That means so much to us. So what can we tell our federal workforce? How can they help you in your organization?
Well, we do accept donations, but we also ask for volunteers. We do hold several events during the year, and our volunteers are critical to our success. So we accept donations, but we also ask for any volunteers that might be willing to help with some of these events. And if you're looking for us, our CFC number is 20959. So we're asking for your support, and we thank you so much.
So 20959, that's your CFC number?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Well, Regina, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you again for supporting our veterans, especially in small businesses. Everyone, thank you for joining us, and have a great day.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Service members and their families experience long separations, uncertain futures, and frequent moves that affect all who serve and those around them. Military service should not prevent American families from thriving. Give back to those who have sacrificed through your favorite military support CFC Charities. You can be the face of change. The world is better when change makers like us give together at givecfc.org. Thank you for joining us today.